I absolutely do not think they should make an Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2. There, I said it, and I mean it. As positive as I try to be about Star Wars in general, I just don't think it makes sense to me that they should make an Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2. Maybe make a Yoda series from this same timeline that kind of ties into it or something. But I made this video a while back, and the reasons I gave still hold up today. So, let's check it out. Today I'm going to discuss whether they should make a Season 2 of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. At this point, I haven't heard anything whether they are going to, but with Ewan McGregor hoping for a second season to the acclaimed Obi-Wan Kenobi series that brought the actor back to Star Wars, you never know what could happen. I'll present arguments for why it shouldn't be made, then flip the script to reasons why another Obi-Wan Kenobi-centric second season should happen for the Star Wars universe. I usually don't pay attention to what Rotten Tomatoes says about different entertainment media, especially that of Star Wars series or movies, but I will just say I am using it as a vague reference to how viewers feel about Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 1. In Rotten Tomatoes, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series got a 64% rating from viewers. Now, that sounds pretty good, right? But to give you a little bit of insight, viewers can vote multiple times on the review site, and that alone, to me, makes it highly inaccurate. But that's my opinion. Also my opinion, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series was good. Not perfect, but then again, no Star Wars project is perfect. Why not? Because I'm a Star Wars fan, and we know all about how Star Wars fans are some of the pickiest fans of any franchise. There were a couple of missteps though, such as there were moments when I was scratching my head and wondering where this series was going. Was this show actually about Obi-Wan Kenobi, as the title suggested, or was it about Reva and her revenge against Darth Vader? Now, I'll admit that I had questions near the beginning about this stuff, and to the second third of the series probably, but by the end it all made sense. Okay, most of it made sense, some of it still was up in the air. There was also the question of whether the show was about little Princess Leia, the Inquisitors as a whole, or how grown men couldn't catch a 9-year-old in the woods. But then, I had to bring myself back. Star Wars is made for kids. To make a kid evasive against adults makes sense for children to watch. When you look at it like that, at least. Another aspect was our expectations being subverted, something the Disney-owned Lucasfilm has been very good at. A lot of us went into the Obi-Wan Kenobi series thinking he would be hunted, but it would be more about protecting Darth Vader / Anakin Skywalker's own son, Luke Skywalker, from discovery and harm. Why? Because that's kind of what they showed us in the trailers. There was no real mention of Princess Leia or Organa at all, but then again, that made the show a bit more unpredictable. So that's a good thing. From what we saw of the original trilogy of Star Wars and Star Wars Rebels, Princess Leia was strong and very much incognito as to her parentage. So seeing a Leia that was struggling with who she is was a breath of fresh air and a nice twist to the story. Besides, and I know a lot of people will hate me for saying this, I'm ready for something that isn't about Luke Skywalker, at least for a little while. Besides, what would Obi-Wan be protecting Luke from? Tuskens? We saw that in A New Hope already. It's been done, it's played out, let's move on with something else. But what made the Obi-Wan Kenobi series worthwhile for me were the scenes between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. They were full of emotion and meaning. Remember that. It's all about Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, at least for me. They also transformed the way we see their interaction in A New Hope. Anakin Skywalker was truly dead to Obi-Wan Kenobi by the end of this series. I know this isn't about my review of the series. This is about whether they should make a Season 2. I tend to lean more towards no. Wait, let me explain. Not because I didn't like the series, I did. It was a solid 8.5 out of 10 for me. I feel blasphemous for saying this because Boba Fett is my favorite character, but I like the Obi-Wan Kenobi series more than I like the Book of Boba Fett. That series just seemed too kid-friendly at times. I liked it, but it definitely could have been better. Where I don't think there should be a Kenobi Season 2, I think there should be a Book of Boba Fett Season 2, because they need to fix parts of Boba Fett's character that they messed up. Sorry, Robert Rodriguez, you kind of dropped the ball on the strong, silent Boba Fett that we know, but this isn't about that. Had the Obi-Wan Kenobi series ended on a different note between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, I would shout a resounding yes for a Season 2, but it ended so beautifully that I really can't get behind it right now. This will be one of the only times you hear me agree with Kathleen Kennedy. Yeah, you heard me right, calm down. There has to be a reason why if they decide to do a second season. And that reason can't revert back to Obi-Wan Kenobi protecting Luke Skywalker against Tuskens or farmers against land disputes. Boring. The whole story tied Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader's interactions together perfectly, and there would be no reason for Vader to be in a second season. Palpatine said as much when he questioned Darth Vader's motives for hunting his old master and where his true loyalties lie. To have a great Obi-Wan Kenobi story, there has to be Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. They are tied together. That shows when they split, Obi-Wan Kenobi dies. Okay, those are my own reasons why there shouldn't be an Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2, but I also have some thoughts as to why there could be. Notice I said could be and not should be. Darth Vader, while in the face of his master, is very loyal and obedient, but as we see in the comics, he's constantly plotting against his master. It's the way of the Sith. So, in a second season, Darth Vader could secretly still be looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi, but we know how that ends. He doesn't know Luke even exists, so if he were to find Obi-Wan Kenobi while he's hiding on Tatooine, he would discover that little bit of nugget of information. Another reason to have a Season 2 is because there are 10 more years that are unexplored between the events of Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 1 and A New Hope. A lot could have happened. Maybe he could run into Quinlan Vos or other Jedi in hiding and looking for a way to escape the wrath of the Empire and its ongoing purge to snuff out the fallen Jedi Order. We know Quinlan Vos has been to Tatooine before. We see him there in The Phantom Menace, actually in Mos Espa, which seems to be a city that ties in a lot of stories in Star Wars. But the more time we spend on Tatooine and troubles Obi-Wan Kenobi has there, the more it would be inevitable that he runs into the Hutts. And we know Jabba the Hutt has a deal with the Empire at this time that allows him certain freedoms. Jabba has also had interactions with Obi-Wan Kenobi during the Clone Wars. He knows who he is, and that Obi-Wan was once a Jedi. Jabba the Hutt would have every reason to notify Darth Vader of this stowaway. Again, we're back to Darth Vader not knowing that Obi-Wan is protecting his son, and Darth Vader's loyalties being with the Emperor, and the Emperor telling him, shut up, leave Obi-Wan Kenobi alone. The biggest reason to have an Obi-Wan Kenobi Series 2 is, wait for it, fan service. Fans of the prequels and really anything Star Wars loved by Obi-Wan Kenobi. They would love nothing more than to see the missing 10 years that lead up to A New Hope. But as I mentioned earlier, we Star Wars fans are picky. If the second season was just filler, it would lead to an uprising that would rival that of the French Revolution leading to the fall of King Louis XVI. It could be done, but it would have to tread lightly, without retconning anything A New Hope had established. And as I said, they wrapped up the inconsistencies in that movie very well with this series. So I still tend to lean towards a solid no to Obi-Wan Kenobi Season 2, unless they do something that I mentioned with Quinlan Vos, but why not make a Vos-centric limited series? We still don't know his entire fate after he turned to the dark side, fell in love with Asajj Ventress, and turned back after her death. He's an interesting character, and adding him to a Kenobi series would take away more attention from Kenobi himself, so it really doesn't make much sense. But what are your thoughts? Do you think there should be a second season? Let me know in the comments below as to what a possible story could look like. And don't forget to leave a thumbs up for the video. It really does help my channel grow. This is Gerald from Star Wars Fanatics signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.